The phone vibrated at 2:11 a.m. Not rang. Vibrated. Like it was afraid of waking something buried. I stared at the ceiling while the screen glowed on the nightstand. Her name. After 2 years of silence. After a door closed on my face and $10 pressed into my palm like charity. I let it stop. Then it buzzed again. I answered without speaking. Her voice slid through the line, soft, rehearsed. Sweet in that way that used to mean safety. "We're a family," she whispered. "You'll help us, won't you?" I smiled in the dark. Because families don't discard. Father's at the door while another man sits in his chair. Families don't teach children how to look through you like you're already gone. "I'll come," I said. Come. Even. And when the call ended, I sat up, pulse steady. Already replaying the moment that made this inevitable. The door. The $10. My daughter's eyes refusing to meet mine. I hadn't been thrown away. I had been set aside. For later use. I remember the room too clearly. The smell of coffee I hadn't been offered. My wife on the couch, angled toward him. The way her body leaned without thinking. How he didn't stand when I entered, already comfortable in my place. My daughter stepped forward. 13 then. Old enough to know what cruelty looks like when adults model it carefully. "Dad," she said, voice flat. She pressed the bill into my hand. "Here's $10. Get lost." No shouting. No drama. Just a transaction. Behind her, my wife didn't correct her. Didn't look embarrassed. She just watched me the way you watch a delivery that arrived late. I noticed details then that should have screamed earlier, the shared glances. The identical phrases, the way my name had already been erased from their language. I left without begging. Without explaining. I walked down the stairs like a man carrying something fragile inside his chest. Refusing to drop it. Denial isn't loud. It's methodical. For months, I told myself stories. That she'd been confused. That my wife would call. That this was temporary insanity dressed as confidence. But silence is an answer when it lasts long enough. And one night, something inside me stopped asking why. I started asking how. I didn't confront. I observed. I watched from a distance. Social media tells more truth than mouths ever do. New car. New vacations. My daughter in clothes I never bought. Smiling next to a man whose hand always hovered too close. I pulled phone records. Old bank statements. Patterns form when you stop hoping they won't. Payments started years before the door closed. Hotels during work trips. A joint account I'd never seen. I ordered the test quietly. No anger. Just precision. The envelope arrived on a Tuesday. Thin. Clinical. Unemotional. Probability of paternity, 0%. I sat at the kitchen table for a long time, the paper flat beneath my fingers. I didn't cry. Grief isn't always wet. Sometimes it's sharp and clean, like something finally aligning. It explained the ease. The confidence. The way she'd handed me money like I was a stranger. I hadn't been losing a family. I'd been financing a lie. I asked her to meet. Neutral ground. Coffee shop. Daylight. She arrived alone. Nervous smile. Older now. Tired around the eyes. I slid the envelope across the table. "Read," I said. Her face drained as the words registered. Hands shook. Breath hitched. She didn't look at me, she looked at the future collapsing. "It doesn't change anything," she whispered finally. "She still needs you." I nodded. Slowly. "You're right," I said. "She does." Then I leaned in. Close enough that she couldn't escape my voice. "But not the way you think." I told her what I'd done while she was busy rewriting history. How the men she chose had been using her accounts. How I'd flagged the transfers. How his name already sat in a file with dates, amounts, signatures. She stared at me like she'd never seen me before. I stood. You wanted me gone, I said. I stayed gone. You want help now. This is it. I walked out before she could speak. When I returned 2 years later, it wasn't to rescue. It was to conclude. The house was quieter. The man was gone, disappeared the moment lawyers started calling. Accounts frozen. Questions asked. Truth expensive. My daughter stood in the hallway. Older. Less certain. She didn't offer money this time. I didn't know, she said. I believed her. And it didn't matter. I know, I replied. She waited. For forgiveness. For a hug. For the ending she'd been promised by adults who taught her how to discard. I gave her the only honest thing left. I loved you, I said. Past tense. Clean. And I won't be used again. I left the house empty-handed. For the first time, that felt like control. Because revenge isn't loud. It's letting the truth do the damage while you walk away intact. And this time, when the door closed behind me, it didn't sound like loss. It sounded like finality.